Hey peeps, today I'm gonna be running down 10 witchy movies for you all. It's not one of my, most favorite genres when it comes to horror. Everybody knows that that's vampires, but it's up there with movies that I like to watch. There's so many different genres when it comes to, which is romance and horror, and, brujeria and santeria, and animated, and we're gonna touch on a few that I thought are cool. The Craft, 1996, directed by Andrew Fleming. I'm going in big. Sarah finds that her telekinesis appeals to a group of 3 wannabe witches that are searching for a 4th member. Iconic movie. I revisit it every year around this time. Great scenes. It was just that movie where you wanted to be the characters because of the way that they dressed and the way that they all looked cool together. And yeah, it's just iconic. It's gonna be a staple, I feel like, in the horror genre and the witch genre forever. Witches. Now, 2 versions, 1990, 2020. I enjoy the 2020 version more. The old one didn't appeal to me as much. I don't know, it didn't grab my attention. It had more horror aspects. The makeup was definitely more gory and nasty. But I enjoyed the 2020 version. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis, adapted from the book by Roald Dahl, who wrote Matilda and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, all those great classics. You have an orphan boy who's living with his grandmother, and they go off to a resort, and when they get there, they find out that they're there at the same time as this world's grand high witch and her cronies are having a weird conference of some sorts, and hilarity ensues, and then things go crazy throughout the resort and the hotel, and some people get turned into mice, and just it's crazy. It's really enjoyable, I think. I enjoy the CG aspects that they added to the new version, because old movies, they couldn't do that, so I enjoy those creepy aspects. So yeah, witches. The Blair Witch Project, 1999, directed by Eduardo Sanchez and Daniel Merrick. This is the movie that I feel sets off that genre of shaky cam footage and really up close footage that we've come to enjoy, or not enjoy, because it makes you queasy. So yeah, it's found footage for 3 students who are doing a documentary in a small town about the Blair Witch, and you guessed it, they get lost in the woods and things happen. Amazing movie. Whether you like it or not, that fake documentary style, I definitely think Blair Witch is iconic when it comes to just horror movie, and just that fake mockumentary style of shooting. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, 1988. I love Elvira. I love all her movies. She's a staple and an icon in horror and scream queen, and she's amazing. It's directed by James Signorelli. Elvira arrives at a small town to claim her inheritance, and she turns it upside down. It's not horror, it's kind of laugh horror, where some things are a little bit scary, but it's mostly in that comedy genre of horror movies. Halloweentown, 1998, directed by Dwayne Dunham. Iconic movie for Disney. Marnie and her siblings, they follow their grandma home to Halloweentown, kooky-esque town with creatures, and it's where it's Halloween all the time, and they find out they come from a line of witches who are involved actively in a fight against this great evil. And there's so many sequels that come after it, but nothing like the first one to really set the tone for what those movies are gonna be like. And yeah, let's get back to those types of Disney Channel movies, because I feel like they took a turn somewhere and they became really cheesy. And I'm not saying this is not cheesy, I'm just saying that the storyline to this was like, it had you at the edge of your seat when you were a kid. Hocus Pocus, 1993, directed by Kenny Ortega. You have Teen Max and his sister Danny. They explore an abandoned house with their new friend. Max accidentally frees a coven of 3 evil witches who used to live in the house. And I don't even want to say it, but I have to, because I have to be like really truthful. It's up there as iconic like witch movies, iconic movies for October and Halloween season. It's not one of my favorites. It's not like my go-to every year. Oh, I know it's hard to say, but I don't know. I enjoy it. It's just not one of my favorites. There is a sequel coming out years and years later. I believe it comes out 2022 next year or the year after that. So let's see how they pick up after so many years, which that is really exciting. The Witches of Eastwick, 1987, directed by George Miller. 3 friends who have each lost the man in their life. They encounter this man who is now courting each of them. He eventually tells them that they're all witches, and as they're like living with him and practicing and getting to know their powers, they start to feel iffy about his motives and why he's like there with them. I love stupid like 80s movies. I'm from the 80s, and so that's why I like to watch like a lot of those movies. I like new horror too, but nothing like the classic for me. So if you've never seen that because you're not from that time period, definitely go watch it. I think you guys will enjoy it. Twitches, 2005, directed by Stuart Gillard. Reunited on the 21st birthday, twins use their magical powers to save their kingdom from the forces of darkness. It's another Disney movie. You know, you have to throw in those Disney movies too because they're enjoyable. They're a staple. They're iconic. Everybody revisits them during this time, especially that Disney Plus has a really good backlog up, and why not? I mean, sometimes you need like horror-esque, but that is not going to give you nightmares, especially for the kiddos. Kiki's Delivery Service. I think this is my first time putting an animated film on a list. I'm not sure. You could correct me if I'm wrong if you watched my other movies. But Kiki's Delivery Service, 1989, directed by the amazing mind that is Hayao Miyazaki. Kiki moves to a seaside town. She's with her talking cat to live alone accordance to her village's traditions in witch training. Witches that are in training. She begins to doubt herself. She at some point loses her powers, and it's just beautifully done. The animation is great. Everything that I feel like Miyazaki has brought forth to us is just amazing, and Kiki's Delivery Service definitely does not disappoint. Lastly, Gretel and Hansel 2020. No, not Hansel and Gretel. Gretel and Hansel. Directed by Oz Perkins. When their mother descends into madness, siblings find themselves in the dark woods trying to fend for themselves. They happen upon a house that has a bounty of food, and just creepiness starts to happen. No, it is one of those movies that are adapted from the old Hansel and Gretel, like fairy tales and stories that you tell your kids. This one is dark and gory, and it's not for kids, but it's great that they use those things and twist them. I enjoy to see retellings of those sorts. So there you have it, peeps. My 10 witch movies, or movies with a witchy feel, however you want to say it. Make sure that you're subscribing to my channel so that you can see all the great content that I'm bringing you this month, and all the great content that I'm gonna bring to you guys in the future. I'm gonna try to do extensive things where I do like 2 videos a week, depending on the season. Halloween season is always that time, and definitely when we hit our Christmas season, our holiday season, I have like goodies in store for you all. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.